Tom, first of all, dealing with dad, before we get to dealing with dad, I'm going to just do a little bit of shop talk. So I started doing press junkets and interviews back when I was a college student, back in 91. So for
Uh-huh.
so many years, me interviewing Asians or Asian American filmmakers, artists, actors, etc., was very scarce, even though I was on the regular circuit. And now it
Yeah.
seems to me the last maybe 5 years for me, I've been interviewing more, not as much as I'd like, but I've seen it happen more for me as a reporter interviewer. So that's my side. What is your side as a filmmaker? What have you seen the progress on your end as well regarding
Yeah,
Asian?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's especially it started, last 5 years, I think. People point to, Crazy Rich Asians as kind of a start for this trend. But I really think it was Crazy Rich Asians and then a film called Searching with John Cho, which is a thriller, did really well. And then Fresh Off the Boat, the show that was on ABC that went on for 6 seasons. I think those two shows really showed that like people want, love seeing any sort of good stories, whether it's Asian American or not, any sort of American stories. And those films were wildly successful and also just a bit mainstream too as well. And I think that's what helps show people like, hey, we can make Asian American stories and not worry about that, they're Asian American and the demographics and everything. I think since then it's like it just seems like a steady stream of like really amazing TV shows and films. As those succeed, it helps me succeed too. And I think when I started looking for funding for dealing with dad, there just seemed like there's just so many more avenues where people want to not just work with make independent film, but make diverse independent films. They want to make Asian American stories. They want to make stories about diverse people. So from an independent filmmaker side, it's been really great, and it's also been really great to see other things like network television even like opened up with shows that stars Asian Americans and Asian American stories. I will say that it also makes it more difficult to cast people. There's a lot of really great actors out there, so you can always find great Asian American actors in LA where I'm based. But if you want to cast like someone that's somewhat of a name, they're so busy now. It's like there's real strong competition, not just for projects, but for scheduling. It's really hard to schedule that they're so busy. So that's really great to see, although it's made it a little more complicated for sure.
Tom, you're a professional director, but can you actually, while you're shooting this, can you actually be a film geek and actually appreciate the talented ensemble you had before you, obviously led by Ally, but can you just speak to the fact that you just have so many different generations of talent before the camera?
Yeah, it's really great, and I'm really grateful that all these actors were willing to come on board this project. I mean, they really love the script, but at the end of the day, they're not getting paid $1 million to be on it, and it really helps me that they were passionate about this story as much as I was, and were willing to like put the time in. The first person we actually cast was Dana Lee, who plays the dad, and he is a veteran. I mean, he's actually from Houston, but he's one of those pioneers who you see him in all the films, starting from the '80s up until now. That showed that like if you want to be an Asian American actor, you could do it and make a living. So he's a veteran actor, and I've seen a lot of his work, so it was really great to get him on board. But the main person we had to cast was Ally Maki. Was the role of Margaret to make this work, and it's hard enough, I think, to find actor of any background that could be funny and dramatic at the same time. So it was, there's only a few actors out there that I think they could really do both really strongly. I saw Ally Maki in this show on TBS called Wrecked, and she's like terrifically funny and sharp and commands a screen. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's the kind of presence I want. The kind of, I think she has this kind of definitely has a Sandra Oh, Ali Wong kind of presence when she gets on. Like, she just makes you watch her. And she's just so terrifically funny and strong. So I thought that, it's for me, it's easier to take a comedic actor that knows comedy and have them do drama as opposed to getting a dramatic actor who's really good at drama. It's often harder for them to understand humor and timing like that. But Ali had all of that. So that was really our key. We could get Ally on board, that I really felt this could work. And so fortunately, her agent showed her the script, and she really loved it. We met afterwards and she said, my, Sorry, this is my cat.
Yes, yeah.
uh, she said, I get this family because, you know, at my last Christmas dinner that we had, my brothers got into a fist fight. And I was like, oh, wow, great. You know, her family screwed up. This is perfect. So I think she had a unique tie and connection with this story and this family that really helped her understand, you know, her relationship with her brothers, and with her dad and mom. And then, you know, we just had a lot of great people. Hayden Szeto has been around for years, really great, really smart and funny. And she and Hayden are actually really great friends. So she, you know, as soon as I said, like, I'm thinking about, you know, seeing if I could cast Hayden Szeto, she like texted him and said, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta read the script and everything. So they had this chemistry already, besides just being talented actors about, you know, about being brother and sister. And then Peter Kim was just perfect because he just, you know, he looks like an everyday guy. He looks like all my cousins in my family. He has this vulnerability to him as well as being very funny. He's a stand-up comedian, and he writes for TV as well. So, you know, those three just like hit it off from the start. I think that really made things work. And then there's even a third generation. Maya Chek plays young Ally in the flashbacks. And she already has starred in TV shows. Like she had her own TV show and starred in this film, this great Sundance film called, you know, the I think Marvelous in the Black Hole, and is doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But because she and Ally were friends, she really wanted to just play that role of young Ally because she loves Ally so much. And so to have that other generation in there too, it was just like amazing that we had this, you know, this ensemble cast that just shows so many different, you know, up and coming and established actors.
You know, this movie is partly inspired by your father, who was suffering from depression. I think looking at interviews, you said over a period of 8 years. So as a writer, what were the biggest challenges as far as they always say, tell your personal story, but I think they never follow up with the question, the answers. How do you tell your personal story without being biased? Or is it okay to be biased in trying to flesh out your narrative?
Yeah, I think it's okay to be biased. You know, as long as for me, I just didn't want people to think that like, you know, we got our dad better from depression, and this is the only way to do it. It's not. You know, everyone that has depression or mental health respond to different ways of doing it. So that was the only thing I was really concerned about. But everything else, you know, I think that the more that I was telling my personal story and the more that I was telling things that I saw in real life, in my life, the more I think it feels real on screen. And, you know, I don't have to worry about it being authentic because I went through it. So that part is easy. And that's always been, you know, this is my third feature film. And what's always helped me with characters is it just basing them on people that I know or parts of people that I know. So all these characters are based on people I know. And so kind of basing their characters and their personalities and there helps me hear their voice in my head when I write their dialogue. It helps me, you know, imagine what their interactions would be like. So I think for me, you know, doing a personal story with personal characters made it actually easier for me. I finished the script in like a first draft in like 3 months, just because it was very clear to me who these people were and where the story was going.
You know, that said, I think one of the best parts of your film is the fact that it's exposition laden, but it's
Yeah.
set within certain sequences, whether it's a restaurant, the kitchen, dining area, their bedroom, it's closed off locations, but the dialogue goes on and it just seems so ambitious to actually mount those things as a writer. And then on top of that, as a director, how do you do that? Because it seems like you really push the envelope with this film with the dialogue, and I love that about this film.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's for me. It's I had a very strong vision of what who these characters were, and so actually, when I started writing the script, the first things that I wrote or the ideas I had is that I wanted to feel like what it was like when I go home for the holidays and I hang out with my cousins, hang out with my brother, and we just go places and we just like catch up and we just make fun of each other and like, you know, needle each other because we know that's what we do. There's a lot of laughing and you know, and even though we try to push each other, we know there's love there. That's what I wanted to base this film about. It was all about conversations. It's about how you learn things from conversations and how you become stronger and closer through conversations. And so in this film, I think Margaret has lost, she's disconnected herself from the family because she didn't want to deal with her dad anymore. And she has forgotten what it was like to actually be with her brothers and the joy that they have of just hanging out together. So that's really what for me was about. This is a dysfunctional, functional family, but still, I think it's still rooted in love, and I just wanted to show that through this dialogue. So I think I've been writing for years and years. I wrote for TV sitcoms for 4 seasons, as well as this is my third feature film. So I've developed a way of like hearing those characters in my head and the way they talk, and then I think more importantly also learning how to edit dialogue in the script and in post so that it moves but still feels real. So that's just kind of my process. And for this particular script too, the actors are such great improvers. That after we did a few takes that I was satisfied with, I let them do takes where you could just go off, and just do the scene again, but like bring your own character to it and bring whatever twist you want to it. And that part just made it feel more conversational as well. It was really what they came up with a lot of times end up in the final cut. I'd say probably 25% of the film is just really great stuff that the actors brought to the dialogue as well to make it feel natural and also bring their character into it. I had to cut a lot of it out because a lot of it was so funny that it just became over the top funny that I had to cut it down. But there's still a lot of just terrific stuff in it as well.
Tom, final couple questions. You have the poster of Find Me behind you. I saw Find Me this morning. Absolutely loved it. Completely different film because a lot of this is visually driven. Can you speak to the fact, how personal of a film was that for you? Or was it as personal as this film? And then in the years since, what kind of reaction have you gotten from people who've loved your film?
Oh, thank you. This film was personal in a different way. Actually, probably in 2016 or 17, I got a great producer on board for Dealing with Dad, and I thought, okay, here we go, we're gonna get this film made. Then nothing happened, and so I felt like I needed to make a film. And so I was hiking through the Narrows at Zion National Park, which is in the film, and the Narrows is this really great hike where you hike in the river and these beautiful towering canyon walls, Slot Canyon that you're in. And I was looking around saying, this is so amazing. Everyone should see this. And so I thought, I want to make a film where people point at the screen and say, I want to go there. So that's kind of how it started. And then I had a really close friend, go through a divorce that really emotionally wounded him in a way that I never thought could hurt him, to the point where I don't even, he doesn't even talk to me anymore. And that affected me so much is that I wanted to do a story. Maybe it was cathartic, about a guy who's so emotionally wounded by a divorce that he just withdraws from life, and how nature heals him and able to, make him feel okay about himself again. So that's how it was personal, and that's how it kind of got tied together. And Find Me did it amazingly well. It's on Amazon Prime. We made our money back on it. But what was happening was I got emails and posts from people saying, how this film inspired them to go see the outdoors. At one point, I got an email from someone who said, I'm in chemotherapy right now watching your film, and you've inspired me to like leave right after chemotherapy and go to Yellowstone to see the outdoors. And I was like, wow, and that made me realize this is why I'm making movies. It's not about the Oscars or Sundance or like money, although that'd be nice. It's really about, can I make something that inspires people to make their lives better? And so that's what I'm finding for Find Me and Dealing with Dad, and it's been really great.
And very quickly, do you have another project lined up, or are you just wrapping up promotions and coverage on this film?
Nothing. Well, I have 3 scripts that are done that I want to get off the ground. So I was going to see how things go with Dealing with Dad, and then try to push those. And then also I'm actually writing a sequel for Find Me, about a group of inner city kids from Oakland who decided to go to the outdoors. So because the film did so well that we felt like we had an audience and that we could make a sequel for it and reach that same audience. So that's the other thing that we're hoping to make after this film gets all wrapped up.
Is it going to be kind of the same theme of Find Me, or you're going to have some of the same characters from Find Me, possibly, or
We'll
just
have
separate?
yeah, we'll have a couple of characters who kind of bridge the story, but the story is really going to be about these kids from Oakland. And you know what I noticed when Find Me came out, and also what I've always noticed before, is just the lack of diversity in national parks and outdoors. And I wanted to explore that a little bit with this film, and also bring in some fresh faces, and to make it make it something different, yet the same themes.
Yeah, without giving too much, my final question, without giving too much away, Sarah's character in Find Me, her big journey is to make a difference in someone else's life.
Yeah.
Where did you realize that was gonna be a big part of who you are as a director?
I think it's always been my thought as far as like making my own films as an independent filmmaker. Every film that I've written myself and decided I was going to make it myself as an indie filmmaker, I really want to make sure it was something that was interesting to me and that spoke to me, and hopefully could inspire people to make their life better in some way. So because like I said, I work for television. I've written scripts for other people. Those are jobs, and they're really great jobs, but those are clients. You want to like satisfy their needs and not yours. And so they might not, even though if a story isn't as interesting or doesn't explore the kind of things you want to explore, that's just, you're getting paid not to help them. So I always want to make sure that I'm making something that speaks to people, speaks to things that I want to talk about. And so that's why these films kind of do that. So I think I realized that early on, for sure, that that's something I wanted to do.
And when you're writing your scripts in your solitude, in your domicile with your cats, is it okay? Is it a fun experience? Because a lot of people say they can't do it, but you obviously can do that, whether it's professionally or definitely personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I love, actually, Starbucks that's my writing place, because there's music, it keeps me awake, and there's people around, and no one gives a crap what you're doing. So you just focus on getting the writing done. So yeah, I love being in that space where I could just be by myself and and write something and create those things in my head and take that time to do that. I did learn that for me to get projects done, is I had to write every day. It's like playing basketball or something, or tennis, where it's like you have to keep doing it if you want to keep that muscle going. And also as long as I get a little bit done every day, it gets me that closer to finishing things. So once I discovered that, that's another thing that I do. It's Starbucks and writing every day. That's how I get things done.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Tom. Really love both of your films, and I'm so excited for the sequel as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for, getting the word. I really appreciate it.